What up, guys? It's me again. Welcome to the This Is My Moment podcast. I'm your host, Patrick Mitchell. And here at This Is My Moment, we love having a good time. We love meeting people. And we love to see you smile. Let's go get it.
There ain't no stopping it. This is my moment. Join the movement. We bringing people together, bringing positivity, making changes for the better. Cause it's all about.
Today, I got a guy that seems really interesting. And I want to see where he's at. He got a lot of stuff when I researched him that I want to touch on today. Introduce yourself to the family.
Hi, Patrick. My name is Barry Furey, F-U-R-E-Y, and I have been involved in public safety since 1970, so that makes it more than 52 years, a combination of the fire service, 911, and also in some industries that serve public safety as a consultant here and there.
Okay, that's what's up, man. So first off, man, like I have a huge spot in my heart for firefighters, man, and police officers, military. I'm a retired guy, so anybody that's helping people, I'm in. So thank you for your service on that part, man. It's a daunting task, but somebody got to do it. So,
You got it.
hey, my question is this. So I looked at you, and I'm finding stuff about you, and it says that you had a scholarship in college.
Full ticket, full ride.
Okay, what were you doing? Sports? What was your gig?
Academics. I graduated with high honors.
So you go to college, full ride.
Yeah.
Did you finish?
I went for one semester
Yeah,
and decided it wasn't what I wanted.
that is.
I am sure, looking back on it, that it probably upset my parents greatly. I mean, the college that I went to wasn't necessarily my first choice, but again, it was full boat, books, everything. And I gave it a chance. It just wasn't what I wanted to be doing. It wasn't where I saw myself going.
Yeah. You know what, man? I think I'm a parent. And my oldest son graduated from college, got a degree. My middle son went to the military. My daughter, my baby, my youngest, my sweetheart, she came to me. She said, "Dad, I don't want to do it." And two things ran through my mind. One, first off, why not? Second, I appreciated that she told me. Because a lot of times kids get so scared of the conversation with their parents that they kind of stay in it and don't do well, and then you kind of get kicked out. But to me, knowing that, you know what, I want to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
I think that's the first part of being successful. Knowing that what you don't want to do and figuring out what you want to do.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I was at a point where, I'm not 100% sure what I want to do, but I am 100% sure this isn't it.
Hey, I know what I'm not doing.
Exactly.
So let me ask you this, man. When you left school, what did you start doing?
I basically went from job to job. I mean, I say that, but not 1,000 jobs. And in fact, I wound up working for the post office for a while, which was not a bad gig for a young guy back in that day. You had salary, you had benefits, But again, that was just a filler. And I knew it, but it kept food on the table and gas in the car and insurance on me. So, it wasn't the worst thing I could have been doing.
Let me ask you this. So we leave school, we go get a couple jobs here and there, post office. And you know what's funny? My grandfather retired from the military and from the post office. So I know for a fact that if you could have, if you stuck with it, like the benefits and retirement, it is something to it. So you had to know that you were more than this. When did you really realize what you wanted to do? When did you really realize that?
I've always been involved in public safety. one way or another. And
Right.
I come from a family. My father was a volunteer fire department, volunteer firefighter for 60 some odd years.
Wow.
My grandfather was a cop.
Mm.
So, when you are Irish and from New York, that's where you are. That's where you go.
Yeah.
But what really, really opened my eyes to life and my future was an incident that I responded to as a volunteer firefighter back in 1972, and that changed my world.
That was actually my next question. So great segue. If I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was in March, correct? March of that year?
That's correct. March 24th, 1972, around 8 o'clock in the morning.
Are you okay with talking about a little bit of that?
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about a little bit then.
Yeah, and I will tell you that. Well, let me start with the incident first, and then let me kind of go backwards and fill
You
in
got
some of these blanks. Again, volunteer fire department, firefighter. I was 20 years old at the time. I had been out of high school for about a year and a half.
Yeah.
And I was actually laying home in bed because I was working an afternoon shift at the post office when I heard the worst sound I have ever heard in my life and hope to ever hear again.
Yeah.
And that is just the sound of crushing metal and a steady locomotive horn that went on and on and on and on. And I didn't have to think twice, jumped up out of bed, got my clothes on, headed down to the fire station.
Yeah.
Didn't even know what was exactly going on then, but as I left the house, I heard the first police officer on the scene say over the scanner, "Send me help down here. I've got bodies all over the tracks." So that, if anything, to start your day, I'm you're just like, all right, what am I getting into? Bottom line, one of the first people there from our fire department, there were other departments involved. In fact, the bus wound up in the fire district next to ours. The crash was right on the district line. So, it's there are so many things I can say about it. There are so many memories. There are parts of memories that aren't there.
Yeah.
And I know why.
Yeah.
But it's I knew if I didn't know the kids on the bus, I knew their older brothers and sisters because half of them had been. Half of the people on that bus were in school, the same school when I was in it. They were just in different grades. They were when I was there, they were the freshmen and the sophomores.
Yeah.
But I came from a fairly small town. It was less than 10,000 people. And that crash wiped out just one side of our town. It really did. It killed 5 people. And injured. And when I mean injured, I don't mean Band-Aid injured. I mean broken bones, amputations, you name it. And it's I will tell you, as a 20-year-old who was kind of floating, it was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
It really was a wake-up call. It's not. You're not bulletproof. Life is a very, very finite experience. And I think back on it.
Yeah.
And, I think, today, these kids, if they didn't pass from some other causes in between, would be grandparents.
Yeah.
And what what life was taken from them, what, if they didn't, and it just brought to mind to me how life is just such a group of random experiences, but how many little seemingly inconsequential decisions you make during the day have an impact on your life, on other people's lives. And as I've said to a lot of people, there's precious little that argues with a train and wins. And I mean, that's that's kind of the law of physics. It's the law of life and the law of death. I can go on and on and on about it, but believe me, and I will tell you that, and I know we're going to talk in a little bit about how I made the comment that it was alternately the, worst day and best day of my life. But it was just a sobering experience. There were, again, I said five students killed. I played sports on weekends with two of them. And I was a pallbearer for one of them later in the week.
Wow.
So the interesting thing, or another interesting thing, is that when you are in when you're in public safety in a small community, the chances of you being involved in a situation with somebody that you know, or somebody that you know who knows them, is significantly higher than it is in a big city, New York, Detroit, Chicago, Atlanta. The odds on you knowing that one person out of 5 million, kind of slim. But to know that one person out of 10,000, not so not so out of it. But I mean, it just really put me back on track. It's funny just thinking about prepping for this show. Gave me time to think over some of the questions, and I never thought about it, but the experience is there's a song from the 1970s by Crosby, Stills, and Nash called Ohio, which talks about the a shooting involving the National Guard and some protesters on the Kent State campus. One of the lines is, what if you knew her and found her dead on the ground? That to me is the personal impact of this story. But I will say that, like I said, it wised me up. It really did. I saw what I was not doing with my life, and really kind of knew what I wanted to do going forward.
Let me ask you this, Barry, man. So I've been to war, been in the military. I was in Afghanistan for 12 months.
God bless you.
I appreciate it, sir. And I've seen people come back, and we've had these ceremonies, man. And I'm diagnosed with PTSD, anxiety, depression from seeing things and being a part of things. Back then, I don't think we were really diagnosing the PTSDs. We wasn't really diagnosing all those things now. And from one person that's seen a lot of things that he can't get rid of to another person, do you think that your mind is in a place where it may have PTSD or may have that those memories that he just can't get rid of, or it's just part of your makeup now? What do you think, man?
Man, that is a tough question. I will, say honestly that I've taken counseling for that, and I mean there are some other experiences like you that I can put on the list that were not walks in the roses either. Back then, PTSD wasn't. I mean, it wasn't anything. No, I mean, you were told to tough it up, shake it off, And from all the public safety I was involved in back at that time, it was, you don't get emotionally involved, and at some point these stop becoming incident numbers, addresses, in your case, missions, and start becoming people. And I've always thought, and anybody that I've ever hired, on the 911 side, especially, I've said, hey, look, you're going to be listening to a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. And, I'm not telling you don't get emotionally involved. I mean, when you're on the phone with that caller, you got to have your stuff together.
Yeah.
But, I don't want you to treat them like they're just a number. Anybody who calls, they got a problem, and if you want to break down over it, just hold yourself together until you hang that phone up and get somebody dispatched. And then if it's something you heard, you need to get up, walk around the room for a little while. You go and do it. But I don't want, and God help us if we ever get into a situation where, the helpers, the military, healthcare, first responders, that they don't have an investment in the service, because that didn't work. It just doesn't work.
So, you spot on, brother. I'm always a fan of buy-in, man. It's just something about knowing that you're helping people and not just helping a number, man. So, you talked about it a little bit, man. It was your best and worst day. And I know what it means because I've had some of those. Explain to me about that being the best and the worst day, man.
Well, I'll start with the worst day. I mean, probably other than the death of my parents, I will say this was, by and large, you just don't see something like that and walk away from it. Yeah, because it doesn't walk away from you.
Yeah.
But to the other end, that has been the catalyst for me trying to make more of a difference, for me trying to keep myself focused, for me trying not to feel sorry for myself over some little bump in the highway. It's just like, what is, this happened. All right, it happened. What are we going to do about it? Do we go on? Let's find a way to fix it. But it sure, anything in my life since then, thank God, has not been of that magnitude. And because it came early in my career, it gave me a chance to kind of change course. You have something like that happen to you later in your career, it's impactful, but I don't think it's as impactful as when you are, when you're 40 or 50. Life comes at you. You come at life a lot different than when you just hit 20.
Yeah, you do.
Because you've already got your bumps and bruises by the time you're later. But man, I mean, you're just you're a different person then. You really are.
Yeah, you are. So you talked about being a volunteer firefighter.
Yep.
And we talked earlier about you dropping out of school off your academic scholarship. You went back to school.
Yeah.
To pursue your degree and to become a fire officer. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. Talk to me a little bit about that, man. Like going back to school, because now to me it looked like you had a purpose. Not like you was going there with the intent of getting this so you can become the thing that you was looking for. Is that kind of spot?
Yeah, I think you're pretty good on that one, Patrick. Yeah. I mean, I went back part-time, and I know there's probably a little confusion about some of my work history here, and I don't blame you, and I know we're looking to talk about that. So let me try to sandwich everything together if I
Give it to
can.
me.
Okay. When I was, well, this takes us back to the bus crash,
Okay.
which was July. Okay, we'll start this over. Think of that, which was March of 1972.
Okay.
In April of that year, I was elected to the office of lieutenant in the volunteer fire department. In July of that year, I took a full-time job as a dispatcher for the county sheriff's office.
Yeah.
So I started making my moves pretty quick after that. I mean, from March to April to June, July, I had already started to make some life changes to get myself together. And then I eventually, in that fire department, I worked my way up to the office of chief. In the sheriff's department, I worked my way up to communications chief.
Yeah.
And during that time, I was going to school nights, part-time, any way I could to get the credits to get my bachelor's degree. But yeah, I mean, I was looking for full-time management position in public safety, because that's where I really from day one think I wanted I knew that's where I wanted my career to go, but I wasn't letting on to shit.
Yeah, man, that's phenomenal. So I'm gonna give you some numbers and tell me if I'm right or tell me if I missed something. You were a fire officer in 3 states.
You're right.
So is that at the same time or was that separate?
In the mid 1980s, I had pretty much figured I had gone as far as I was going to go in my hometown, in my home county. And the price of living in New York back then for a public servant was not good. It is, of course, if I looked at it knowing what I know now, it looked, it was much better back then than it is right now. I mean, I've got friends who are paying $20,000 a year property tax and not living in McMansions, believe me. But in any event, I was offered a job out of state as a director of communications in Champaign, Illinois. Because one thing is, when you are a 911 director, there are typically just one of you in the city or one of you in the county. So if you want to change jobs, you got to change locations. And so that's what I did. Moved to Champaign, Illinois, was the director of 911 there, and was at the same time was a training officer for Savoy Fire Department, which is an on-call department there in the county. So there's state number 2. State number 3 left there and went to Alabama, where I was doing consulting work, but I was also deputy chief of Harvest Fire Department in Alabama. Left there, went to what's next? Okay, went to Tennessee. Became executive director of communications for Knox County, Tennessee, which is Knoxville. And then left there and eventually came to Raleigh, North Carolina, where I became director of communications for that city. So that is sort of my 50-year journey in public safety.
That is solid work, brother.
I just tell people I just can't keep a job.
I can't keep still. And you know what?
And I'll be honest with you. Most of those changes have been that, I think I've done what I can do here or what I want to do here. Yeah. And it's like, okay, where's the next challenge? I mean, I think I'd make a great relief pitcher because it's kind of like, you know what, I'm going to close this out. And then I think, hey, the game's over. Okay, where's the next team? Where am I going?
Yeah.
We're done here. You know what's funny too, man? You said you came from New York, all the way to Alabama, all the way back up to Knoxville, then across to Carolina. Brother.
But we got all the halfbackers here. Those are people who left New York, went to Florida, and came halfway back.
Yeah, it's kind of cold now. So here's my thing, man. I enjoyed it, Barry. I enjoyed it, man. I love the story. I love what you're doing, man, and keep it up, man. And thank you for everything that you've given to the public health and the public first responders. Now, here's the time to have a little fun.
Okay.
I know Ashley sent you the questions, but what she didn't send you are the 3 questions that we asked at the end.
Okay.
So what I started last year, I started a game, and I would have my guest choose between 2 options. This year, I call the game Pick One. I'm not throw you under the bus. It's just for fun. It's just for genuineness. And I want to see what you really prefer. You ready to play?
Sure, let's go.
Let's go to work. Fire department, 911 dispatch.
Fire department. You get to wear dirty boots into people's houses. You get to break things and nobody gets mad at you. And you get to drive down the street going like hell.
That was too quick. Here we go. All the things that you've done inside of your 50 years, you only get to keep one. What are you most proud of?
My kids.
Brother.
I got 3 myself.
Good answer. Last one. I give you the phrase, this is my moment. What's the first thing comes to mind?
This is my moment. I will go back. I got to go back to the bus grass. Unfortunately, It is. If there was just one defining moment in my life, that would be it. That is the catalyst for everything since.
Yeah, Barry. Thank you very much for being on the show, man.
You're welcome.
Hey guys, here's the deal. Any way you can, find out what you want to be, and if you're not there, find the direction that it takes to get there. It's no perfect road. Just make it your own personal road. Get there the best way you can and own it. At the end of the day, this is your travel. This is your road. New York to Alabama. It doesn't matter how you start. It matters how you finish. And at the end of the day, go get it!
Join the movement. We bringing people together. Bringing positivity. Making changes for the better. Cause it's all about growth. All about success. We want to see you rise. Want to see you at your best.